Hello, everybody. Welcome to Yes, Have Some podcast. My name is Craig Goldberg. We are officially in the post-Frozen Empire era of Ghostbusters. What does that mean? We don't know. We're going to talk a little bit about it tonight. We're going to do some Q&A. But first, let me introduce my co-hosts. Joining me, as always, Abigail Gardner.
Hey, y'all. And the PFE, post-Frozen Empire. Yeah, I like that. It's a good timeline spot.
Yeah. It's an era.
Yeah.
There's different eras of Ghostbusters. There's like the originals,
Mm-hmm.
then whatever the 90s was, whatever that was.
Extreme.
Yeah, the extreme era, and then the Dan Aykroyd's trying to make a Ghostbusters 3 era, which is one of my personal favorites, the Hellbent era. But yeah, we're gonna have some fun talking about that stuff. Jacob Walsh, how are you?
I'm good. I think it's a little unfair to say we're in the post Frozen Empire era because
right,
it's still happening, not over.
Mm-hmm.
It's out though,
It's
so
in
we're
the theater.
Okay, we're still in the Frozen Empire era until I'll tell. Okay, when the DVD comes out and then we move to the 40th anniversary, then that's when that era ends.
You're not in the post until they start talking about the next one.
The next thing. Okay,
You're in this era. You could be in this era for the next 6 years.
Now that we've defined that, that's good.
See, I don't know eras like you.
You're in it.
I'm not a
You're in
dinosaur
it.
man.
I'm not a Taylor
you
Swift
know,
fan.
You should have. Hey, never studied.
He touched it. Hey, we did watch Jurassic Park the other night. Great movie, but we can't talk about that tonight.
Wait, did you just mixed a Jurassic Park quote with
Ghostbusters? Yeah,
Okay.
I'm blending. Well, we talked about wanting to like get in on Jurassic Park stuff like we are with Ghostbusters, so I'm just dropping hints out there.
Okay.
Just little compy footprints in the sand.
Okay.
Lost World. Okay, so we've all seen the movie a couple times now. You know, we did our first reactions last week, and it's so interesting for me because now we're in this period of time where everybody has seen the movie and everybody's reacting, everybody's developing their opinions. And I do want to see the movie at least one more time in theater. Abby and I have seen it 3 times, but Jacob, I believe you've one-upped us. Is this true?
Yeah, I just got out of it. I literally just got home.
Okay, so you had another experience.
Yeah.
That's great.
I went and saw it again. I took today off work and I was just gonna like sleep all day in, and I thought it's a Thursday, it's the middle of the day. I'm gonna go see this movie. Hopefully it will be, the movie's been out, it's the middle of the week. I was hoping it was gonna be an empty theater. And good thing for the movie, it wasn't an empty theater. It was actually a pretty full theater because I did not realize that it's spring break. So there were a lot of kids.
Spring break, woo.
Did they enjoy it, do you think? Did they like what they saw?
The 2 6-year-olds that were sitting directly to my right were paying zero attention to the film and doing their own annoying thing the entire time. But there were laughs from the theater. Yeah.
Good.
Did you enjoy it? That's the question. Because I know like people are seeing this more than any movie I've ever seen. I'm seeing people shifting their reactions and thoughts with each viewing. It's really kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel the same as I felt on view 3. It's still very good. Yeah.
Good. Well,
hey, something though.
Let's do it.
I don't think we've talked about this maybe we haven't talked about this on the show or publicly at all, but the movie's out, so I'm sure we can.
We can now.
You
I don't know
can
what
cut
you're
it
going
if
to
we
say.
can. Our jumpsuits are in the movie, and I realized they're both in the movie. I know this is the 4th time I've seen it, and I look every single time, and it's hard because it is very, very fast.
Right.
You can see yours better because you're whenever yours is shown, it's got the GB2 logo on it. But as Winston is suiting up, you can see inside his locker, and it's there, but you just can't see the logo. So it's like, oh, well, that's the GB2 suit.
Right.
They're both like a split second of screen time. But I don't know if we've talked about the fact
we haven't. I guess we could probably talk about it now, right?
Yeah, the movie's out.
All right. So because if you're listening to this with no context, you're going, what the hell is he talking about?
Yeah.
Like this guy thinks his flight suits and Ghostbusters. He's gone crazy, but he hasn't. It's real.
It's in there.
Yeah. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire filmed in the UK. They did some reshoots late last year in December in the Atlanta area. We live in said area that I mentioned earlier, Atlanta. And we got a call from production, and it was basically like, hey, we want to include some Ghostbusters 2 flight suits in some of the lockers, Ray and Winston's lockers, for some pickup shots. And do you have that? Do you know anybody who does? And I was like, oh.
Yeah, and for further background, the Ghostbusters 2 shade of like blue-gray is hard to track down and hard to dye. So that's why it would be make more sense.
No, that's a good point. You can't just buy those. Like, you can't just go to like a Army Navy store and buy that charcoal grayish blue flight suit. So obviously those were used in Ghostbusters 2 for just during the montage, less than the red parkas. Okay. But Jake, they're pretty iconic suits, right? The fans love them. I love them.
Yeah, they're great. They're maybe better than the khaki.
Yeah. And so we loaned our now these are just like our flight suits. Like these
are personal. Yeah. I wear mine to Dragon Con every year.
Right. And they've got our name patches on it, but they looked good enough for what they needed, which is amazing. And they have, I believe those are GB Fans Ghostbusters 2 patches, now canon.
Yep, now canon.
And we loaned them, and then they gave them back, and we didn't hear anything. And then we saw the movie, and we started connecting dots and did some confirmations. And Austin Young, friend of the podcast, was actually able to screen match the Ray one to mine. Now, when they did give them back, Jacob, they didn't put like the Zedmore and Stance patches on the flight suits, but they tagged them like a laundry tag almost on the sleeve with production used Stance and Zedmore patches. And when they gave us our suits back, they gave us those production used patches, which was really kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's cool to, even though I was kind of hoping you'd be able to see them a little better, but we know they're there, and it's
a lot of stuff we were hoping to see better.
It's so super quick, but
yeah,
it's a cool thing to even be just the fact that we got that call and they were like, "Hey, we need your help immediately."
Right,
like it was all really cool. So.
And it was just like it just worked out. Like we're here, we have them.
Yeah,
we're sitting by our phones waiting for that call. No, it's but Abby, it's kind of cool because it was like that was our own personal thing, but now we own a production screen used flight suits, and mine is now in a DTOF. Mine is made from the closet to behind glass.
It's a win-win. Yeah.
Which is really cool. So
you telling me you're not going to wear that suit again? It's not coming to Dragon Con?
I haven't been able to necessarily get into that suit.
You haven't worn it in a while anyway.
That's a pre-COVID flight suit.
Got it. Keep it behind glass.
Hey, it doesn't have the correct safety, protocols.
In a
COVID world.
I had been wanting to put together a more accurate flight suit for a couple of years, but now I don't have to because I have an accurate flight suit.
Now it's accurate. True spec, dyed. Jairus Whitley recipe, gbfans.com, dyed. Yep. I should message him and let him know his recipe.
I was thinking about it too. Yeah. Send him the little screenshot.
You made it in, bud.
Congratulations.
As over the next couple weeks, we've got some more Firehouse Fridays videos to release. So we're not done.
Wait for that.
So as of listening to this, because we're going to release this on Monday morning, you will have seen our tour of the Paranormal Research Center, which, Abigail, that's my favorite one.
Yeah, that was my favorite too. It was like the biggest space that we had with like the most time to just like be undisturbed and like wander around and explore and goof off. So yeah, I'm really proud of the work that we did there, and I'm excited to see it because that's one of my favorite like set pieces and new things that you get from Frozen Empire. Is that whole test lab area. So I'm excited to watch this.
Hey, just hanging out in Peter Venkman's office, he's got the bar cart, he's got all the experiments.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So we'll have that. We've got a couple more Firehouse Fridays videos coming, and then a couple more surprises that we're working on. So we're not slowing down. We're not stopping. It's been a really fun couple months. I've actually been able to finally take a little bit of a breather, Jacob, and really appreciate and kind of think back. Like I got a message this morning from, I don't want to blow his spot, but somebody who was in New York with us, and who traveled in and was just like, I can't believe that trip. I can't believe all the stuff, and I can't believe all of these people from all over the world got to converge and have that experience. It's really cool, and we don't take it for granted, and we appreciate everybody's support as we've done all this stuff. But tonight, we just got to answer these questions.
Answer the questions. ATQ.
So
why do I keep getting blurry? I don't know what's happening.
I don't. It could be there. There it is. So this is what we did. There's a lot of discussion about Frozen Empire. People really picking it apart and diving into the plot and all that. We've seen it a couple times. We're are we experts? No, but we love answering questions. We are like basically.
I think we're experts.
We're experts.
Yeah,
we're experts.
I would say at this point, yeah.
We're like the experts if the other experts weren't available, you would call us. Like, we're not 911, but we're 411.
We're information.
We have information.
Which is true.
We're the people that Rick would call down to the gold silver pawn shop to like let him know about Ghostbusters artifacts.
Wow. Oh. I've never seen anything like this. Oh yeah, the Glyphy one.
Yeah, I see.
That's the premier piece. So yeah, we'll get into it and we'll have some discussion. We went to the Discord, we went to Instagram, and we said, hey, ask us your questions and we'll answer them to the best of our ability. And if we don't have the answers, we'll do some digging and try to get answers. That's our problem.
Cool.
It's not a problem, but
so let's go. Prerogative.
That's our prerogative. So let me start with, I actually got a bunch of the ones that we were sent from Instagram and got these loaded up. Let's just go ahead and start, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. All right. Question number 1. I'm going to hide that in a second. What?
I'm like, cool.
I didn't know it was going to be that big. Bear with me. What would the ideal sequel look like for you? Whew. It's a tough one to start off with.
Jeez.
I mean, I can think.
I don't know. I'm not there yet. I'm still in the Frozen Empire era.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about a sequel. I'm trying to. Abby, what were you going to say?
Well, I'm thinking that there's a Spengler Gruberson wedding, maybe abroad, maybe in the Bahamas, maybe in England or something.
Is the Bahamas abroad?
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Well, I'm thinking about Jaws of Revenge, honestly. Yeah. And I'm just thinking about a fun, like, resort type, different location for the movie, is what I'm saying. And I'm saying I'm also thinking of the Brady Bunch movie. But I'm thinking about Gary and Callie and like maybe opening on their wedding and then seeing what happens from there on.
Like a ghost crashing their wedding and they have to.
Yeah.
Like. Callie has to. Can you imagine Carrie Coon in a wedding dress, but with a proton pack on?
That's awesome. Like a singed wedding dress. Yeah,
that's actually really funny.
I might be thinking of Kill Bill also, but yeah, I think that's a starting point for the universe. But yeah, there's so many storylines that I'd like to see picked up. I'd love to see Melody pop up again.
Nope. She's gone.
That's done.
All right.
She went into the universe.
It would be neat to maybe a correspondence or something. But yeah.
A letter.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're allowed to do letters from the fabric of the universe. I think she's done.
I think they deliver.
She's Egon done.
I've thought about this a good amount. I mean, I think that there's a unique opportunity to round out this as a trilogy, right? Like I never really thought of Ghostbusters 3 as it would, like, when it eventually would come out, that it would be like the beginning of a new story. I always thought it would be like a continuation and a closure of the original story. Never even dawned on me that they could keep going.
It would have been if it would have came out in the 90s, but we live in a century and a movie making age where nobody makes one movie anymore.
Sure.
It's all
building a universe.
capitalism and
Yep.
let's make as many as we can.
Yep.
Every movie is made with the second and third in mind. So
Which is good for me.
sure.
But so seeing, Callie and Phoebe and Trevor in Afterlife, and now it's literally been 4 or 5 years since they filmed that. We have Frozen Empire and the kids are like now older teenagers. I'd love to see at a minimum the third in the trilogy to see what it's like a couple years down the road when, Trevor's in his mid 20s or early 20s, Phoebe's in college, and just to kind of continue a lot of the things that were introduced in this movie, to see if they grow the Paranormal Research Center. Do they bring on more people? Do they have more new locations? I think Ernie and Dan and possibly Bill might have one last rodeo as kind of like, I wouldn't mind if they even took it a further step back because they were way more involved this time. I know that sounds blasphemous to some people, but like, it's 2024. We want the franchise to go for a long time. I think it's really time to put the new characters that we have front and center. So I want to see more stories with the Spangler family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
You'll take it.
Yeah. Good answer.
All right. You'll take it. All right. Should we go on? All right.
Yeah.
There you go. How do you think Lucky got her internship with Winston? I did not vet these. We got to dig in. Let's be nerds. How did
I mean, she got his contact at the end of Afterlife and like probably emailed him.
I mean, I don't think it's that big of a stretch. She was included at the end of the finale. Like she was a part of the capturing of Gozer.
Right.
Maybe when they went in for Coco.
Either before, yeah, exactly. Like you would reach out to the people in your circle before you just said, "Hey, let's just get a random intern." Like so, to me, that
promote from
question
within
deserves no more time talking about it.
There you go. Something happened though. Here we go. Do any of you have a controversial opinion on the movie or franchise in general? Like a hot take?
Ghostbusters hot take.
Ghostbusters
Probably
2 is the best movie.
That's your take, Abby? Yeah.
I don't know. Do you got one, Craig?
I've been thinking about this for the last 20 seconds after we read that that question. I don't know if I have a hot take from this movie specifically, other than the one that I've expressed a few times already, and I don't think it's a hot take. I think I think the Ghostbusters theme song pumps me up, and I like hearing it. And I think I would have liked it at the beginning of this movie after the opening credits, cutting into the chase. I don't think it's not like a hill I'm gonna die on, but I would have liked it. So yeah, that's my answer to that. My
hot take is that I don't ever want to hear the song again in a movie. And I think the movie, the franchise can grow without using the same song all the time. I don't mind it at the end of the movie. I don't want it anywhere else. I'm happy with the route.
Okay,
we've gone.
All right, Abigail, song takes.
Just me.
I mean, I do have takes about the soundtrack and music in general from Frozen Empire. I could have used more of it. I like to have like a song to attach to a memorable moment so that I can listen to it when I'm not watching the movie, and then I can have it play out inside of my head. That's like,
you mean like a needle drop, like an actual track,
which 100% Afterlife had. And I think the model is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 that had like a really that was an integral soundtrack to the movie, and I would have liked that. That would be, I don't know if that's a hot take, but that's just like a take. Well,
I think the first two Ghostbusters movies have a lot of like
original songs written for the movie.
Well, there's that, but then like cleaning up the town is like a big, like there's like upbeat pop tracks in the first two Ghostbusters movies.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I like those. I think they're used really tastefully in Afterlife. I was surprised because I only think there's one, maybe two in this movie, but it's mostly score. I like the score a lot, but yeah. Does that bother you at all, Jacob?
No, I'm good either way. Like, I was also surprised there were none in this movie, but it doesn't bother me.
I'm trying to think if there's any more.
If it's done well, I don't care. You know, I'll eat like either way. If it's done well, it's not distracting to me. So I didn't really mind it, and I wouldn't mind it if it was there either.
I'm trying to think if there's any other controversial takes. Like, I didn't come out of this movie with any like really like, oh, it should have been this, they should have done that. Like nothing that would be like surprising. I don't think.
I don't think so either.
I might have to think about it a little more.
Yeah.
Anything else, Abby?
Maybe after I watch it 6 more times, I'll be like, oh, they should have done this, or But
we'll circle back to that then.
I don't know if this is a controversial take, but somehow Dan Aykroyd might be the best actor in the movie.
I agree with that.
He's awesome.
I mean, he's got the most experience out of everybody else in the movie, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, here we go. Abigail, I'll let you take this one first.
What is the weakest part of the film in your opinion, and how would you fix it?
Sorry, I didn't know. That's
tough.
I could answer this.
All right, Jacob, you go first, and then Abigail.
To me, the weakest part is that maybe it could have been a little bit longer. When I watched it today, the only time I feel as if things might be a little rushed or just at the end, after Garaka is defeated, it like wraps up and like it feels like they're like, all right, we got 60 seconds to just make the credits roll. It just feels a little fast, and I think the whole movie could be a little smoother if it had like, I don't know, 15 to 20 extra minutes in it. Would maybe, make it, I don't know, just would be able to tighten it up a little bit.
I agree. That little added padding would be great, especially if it's like important stuff for me to Melody and McKenna. Phoebe. Melody
and McKenna.
Anything that with the two of them on screen, I wanted to see more of. So I would have 100% been there for more relationship building, friendship deepening between them, so that maybe there's a little bit more emotional payoff in the final act. That I could definitely have done with. Any more of that would have been fantastic.
It's so funny because like all three of us are like, yes, if there's an opportunity for like more character development, more building the tension, more building the relationships, like we're all about it. And then you read some pages, they're like, well, there should be more ghost busting. I'm like, there's too much ghost busting in this movie. There's too much.
Yeah.
Like when Garaka showed up, I'm like, dude, chill.
Aren't you guys tired? Yeah.
Chill. We have Phoebe and Melody are having a discussion.
Right.
We need to see this through. So yeah, I like that. I think that's a fair assessment. Like, there's a lot of story in this movie, and they're still having to deliver an hour and 48 minutes. Like, I think this is a movie that I really wish was 2 hours and 20 minutes. Like another 20 minutes of fleshing out some of those character moments, I think would have been good.
And it's tough from our perspective because when we were in London, it's like, and I said this before to you, Jacob, it's like we saw the skeleton and the guts of this movie, and to see it walking around like a fully formed Frankenstein type of thing. Not to compare the movie to Frankenstein, but
not to compare the movie to a monster.
But when you see the parts before they're actually moving together, you can fill in the blank with your own headcanon. So that is where we were coming from. So there's definitely I have an appetite for more, and I am eagerly anticipating deleted scenes and like extra footage from the movie when the DVD releases.
For sure. Cool. Mm-hmm. Let's go to the Discord. We'll give a shout out to our Patreon people. Brian Brink, the chart man. He asked a couple questions, so let's tackle them. Brian Brink asks, who is your favorite addition to the cast of characters? And why is it Phoebe? Well,
Pukey.
Phoebe. Honestly, Pukey.
Phoebe's not an addition.
She's not an addition.
Was there last time.
Right,
so.
right.
Yeah. Lars.
It's Lars. Yeah,
It's
Lars is my favorite.
Lars is a legit laugh out loud funny.
Laugh out
Subtle.
Lars.
Laugh
Sorry.
out Lars.
Yeah, Lars is great. I thought that Lars Pinfield, as played by James A. Caster, was a phenomenal addition. Jacob, to me, we kind of over the last year, we listened to his podcast a little bit, kind of familiarize ourselves with him. He lived up to what I thought he could. He kind of delivered on what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I wanted more of it though. It definitely, you want more Lars. You want to he's really great and he's kind of deadpan, but he's got very funny lines. And he also just looks good in the gear, in the end when he's wearing a pack, and I'm like, I just want to see him do more. I want to see him do his own thing.
I mean, all 4 original Ghostbusters were God, this is going to sound like, I really like Ghostbusters, guys. Let me just put it out there. They're all 6'2" and thin, and they just look good in the gear. And he kind of looks like Harold Ramis a little bit. He's channeling that,
the physicality. Yeah, I agree.
So I thought Lars was great. I think a close second for me would be Nadim, as played by Kumail Nanjiani. He's funny the whole movie. He, that's a character. That's a big swing of a character addition to this universe.
Yeah,
and maybe we'll get into it a little bit later. But just from a character perspective, all of his scenes were good. Seeing him interact with Dan Aykroyd was great, and he was great.
Yeah,
and who are the other new characters? Melody.
Yeah.
You talked about her a little bit.
Yep. Loved her addition. Thought that every moment she was on screen was sparkly and magnetic and distracting. And I really liked her, and I liked the friendship, and I could relate to that maybe I'm not supposed to hang out with this person, but I'm gonna keep doing it because I like them. And
yep, that's what happened with me and Jacob. Abby was like, I want you hanging out with that guy. He's got tattoos. He's got a Jurassic Park car. I was like, I'm gonna go do it.
No.
Hey, when did Melody die? Because everybody seems to have a very different opinion on this.
Here's the thing. Hold on. Here's the thing.
Let's do it.
I think there's a couple things in the movie that the nerds are wanting to know explanations for, that there just aren't explanations for, because it doesn't matter to the plot at all.
Sure.
I think in pre-production, Melody was supposed to be we've seen some production art of that character wearing clothes from the 1800s or some shit. But maybe somewhere along the way they said, fuck it, just put her in this. It doesn't matter. It's not going to be addressed. She died at some point years ago. That's all. That's the answer to the question. It doesn't matter when. It's not important to the plot. A lot of people are freaking out about it. I don't know why. But
it's the new ladder.
I
feel like her wardrobe is basically it could have been any time. There's a chance that maybe
not if you ask Austin Young.
Oh, okay.
He'll tell you where those boots came from, and
has he tracked down the whole outfit and tried to say that it's modern times?
I don't know.
No judgment. Also, everyone can do their own thing to hypothesize.
I'm pretty sure it's 1930s or 40s. She says she died in a tenement fire. They don't have those anymore. That's an old thing in New York.
Yeah.
So, anyways, okay. Well, she's dead. Sorry.
There's a chance that they gave her indistinguishable clothing to be more likable and more relatable to the audience, especially younger audience members. That's what I'm thinking.
We'll dig in.
We're not going to ask any real people that question.
No.
I don't think anyone has the answer.
That's the kind of question you go to a convention and Zach Myers asks Winston, and Winston goes, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Dead silence. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's not nobody has an answer to that question. She died a long time ago. That's it.
A long time ago. Okay. Brian Brink had another question. So let's just read it. How do you guys feel about adding the Firebender character into the mix? I understand Ghostbusters is very much about the supernatural, but am I wrong in thinking that they should have stayed a little bit more grounded with just fantastic real-world technology to resolve Ghost Crisis? I feel like adding in a superhero of sorts was too much.
Question is, do we agree with this person?
No, to me, if you think about, I think there's a little bit of revisionist history about how grounded Ghostbusters is. Okay. Everyone always says that. It's such, it's just very grounded. Like,
it's grounded until
Louis Tully turns into
20
a dog.
minutes into the movie. It's grounded until a giant marshmallow walks down the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does feel like a bit of a big swing, and when we went to London and Eric told us that part of the plot, we were like, what is happening?
You serious, Clark?
But it is like they say it in the movie. There are, been things throughout history, people with abilities, sick dance moves, podcast says. And
perfect pitch.
Yeah. But Vigo was a human with powers, and they tried to do Ghostbusters has kind of set this up. It's just each movie gets bigger and bigger. Mm-hmm. So it does seem a little crazy until you think about it or watch one episode of the real Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
So I'm fine. Yeah. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, Vigo was a very powerful magician, right? I think it's like, I think sometimes we think, if you have powers, that means you're one of the bad. The bad guys have powers. The good guy, you just have to be a Ghostbuster if you're good guys. So like, they're basically saying like there are supernatural and paranormal abilities that might be capable from just everyday average humans. Now, I think in Ghostbusters 2, when Janos turns into the ghost and flies across town with the baby carriage, how the fuck did that? No one's ever answered how he did that. Did he have an ionic separator on him?
What happened? Yeah, I don't know.
Because if you look
nobody cares.
Yeah, right. I think
what year was he from? Because he's wearing like a nanny costume from the 20s.
Yeah.
So
I've never
nobody cares what year
Ghost
Janos is from.
Abby, any other thoughts on Firemaster?
I thought it was great. I thought that was a great addition. I thought Kamal was an amazing character, and I didn't have as many of these like nitpick issues with like how did this line up or historically how did this happen. Like I think I just enjoyed it for what it was, another Ghostbusters movie, a sequel to Afterlife. And
great characters.
Yeah, opportunity to watch great characters and to laugh and have fun. I definitely support those who want to like pick through and try to like categorize and figure out the movie. Do that. That's fun.
Well, I think another thing that's happening is people are talking about Melody and her ability to like just almost be a ghost in human form or vice versa. I think Ghostbusters has a classification system for ghosts for a reason. Like, there's all sorts of different entities.
Yeah.
Like Vigo was technically a supernatural being who jumped out of his painting and walked around and growled at everybody. Like, so,
there doesn't have to be, the thing is like, there's not rules. There doesn't have to be rules for, Phoebe asks Melody, oh, did you just transmorph or whatever? And she's like, oh, is that what that's called? Yeah. And then she says, well, how did you hold the chest? And she's like, I don't fucking know. I'm a ghost. I live in a weird ghost
I feel
world.
like that's our answer.
That's the answer.
Take that.
But it's because everybody watched the movie Ghost, where literally Patrick Swayze has like a 20-minute training scene.
It took him a long time.
Well, this isn't Ghost. This is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Melody found a guy on the subway who was yelling at people.
Oh my God.
Teach me.
Whoa. Okay. If you could remove one scene, what would it be? And if you could add one scene, what would it be? I'll tell you which scene I'd add.
I'm not sure we're allowed to tell people.
I know which scene I'd add.
We'll get to that another day. But if you could, I don't want to remove any scene.
I don't want to remove anything either. No, I don't think
anything out. Yeah.
I think the movie needs some things added. I don't want to remove anything.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
No.
Hey, I refuse your question.
Yeah. Denied.
Next question. I'm not answering.
Next up. No feel-good pop tune to get you pumped up for the third act. Too much of an Ivan thing. I do think that was an Ivan Reitman staple. We kind of touched on this earlier, though.
Yeah, talked about it.
I don't know what song. Like, listen, you could have put On Our Own in there. This is what I would want. I want On Our Own with a new verse by Bobby Brown, but it's not about Vigo.
God.
It's like a Garaka rap.
Let's not try it right now.
We're gonna write that off air.
Too hot to handle, too cold to hold. They call the fire master and they're in control.
Abby just said don't do it, Craig.
But I wanted to.
I did. You were not listening.
Somebody write the lyrics.
I'm now trying to write
We'll
better
recite
lyrics too.
And all the while, the ice was over our buildings. Okay.
It can't be the same verse.
It's the same thing. Get Bobby Brown. Okay. I feel like the movie plot was mushed together a bit. Can we get your thoughts?
I think we also just answered that.
Yeah.
If it was
I
a
do
little bit
think
longer.
it breathes more, though. With the second and third viewing, I did not have that.
I don't have that feeling throughout.
Mm-hmm.
I just selfishly want more of it.
Right.
And I think maybe the end could be longer.
Yeah.
Somebody in the Discord says, anybody got a screen grab of Melody? Calm down, buddy.
You want, that's why you come to us?
I think that is specifically when they were trying to figure out where she came from. Yeah,
right.
That was trying to figure out her clothes.
Right. Because there's pictures of the filming when we saw that filming. Yeah. Okay, let's rock and roll here. Hold on.
Also, are we ruling out the fact that Melody could change clothes? Like, sorry, I don't know if this is an avenue we don't want to go down.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, we'll ask the people that we need to ask. No, we won't. Jacob won't ask. With Bill so prominent in the first two, does the minimal screen time feel jarring? Bill Murray, he's speaking of.
Yeah, I would have put more Bill in. I would have had Bill in more. I mean, if he was up for it, I don't understand why you wouldn't. He's very funny.
I don't get some of the reviews. I've seen a couple of reviews like Bill Murray's just sleepwalking through this role. I'm like,
I don't think he is at all. He just seems like he's having fun to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that he had the energy and was like falling back into the role more so than he has at all ever.
If you want to see Bill Murray sleepwalk, you should watch another Paul Rudd movie called Ant-Man 3.
That's really funny. I would like more Bill Murray, but it's because I'm a Ghostbusters fan, and we all want more. We want more of all the Ghostbusters. So, here we go. Will Podcast get a proton pack when he grows up? I hope so.
He'll have to get his license first. Yeah.
Maybe.
He needs a pack.
At least we gave him one.
Yeah, I was going to say he has one. We gave it to him. Thank you, Austin Young.
Thank you, Austin Young. Yeah. Austin's got 3 shout outs on this podcast already. Mm-hmm. Pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Podcast did not get a proton pack this time around, but he got a hammer.
Mm-hmm. And a kiss.
And he got a kiss, which is more than a lot of other people got. So I would love to see Podcast, become a full-fledged part of the team. I think he's great. I think Logan Kim did a great job in this movie. And I think it's really hard. I think it's even harder on him because he looks and sounds so different than he did in the first movie.
Yeah.
So anyways, okay. Will Phoebe excellent. Well, this is from the Logan Kim fan page. Will Phoebe become the new Ghostbusters leader, Abigail?
I mean, she could definitely fill the role. I don't know if there's a need for a new leader. I think that maybe 20 years down the road or something, but
they never really had a leader.
I was about to say, there's not a leader.
Opportunity.
Everybody's doing different stuff and has different. There's no leader.
Like, who was the leader of the Ghostbusters in the original movie or in the cartoon?
Janine. Janine's their boss, right?
Yeah.
Did you guys?
I think Phoebe might always be the smartest one in the room, but I don't know if she's I don't think there is a leader of that function.
She's the smartest one in the room, but she's also the one who released Gozer and Garaka. So,
dude, holy shit! I'm glad you brought this up. I was thinking about this recently. Walter Peck kind of has a point. If you start thinking about the Ghostbusters,
he does.
Listen, if you start thinking about the Ghostbusters movies, like everything is their fault.
They're responsible for every ghost except for Vigo.
but there's something
Right?
happened off screen. They fucked up.
Janosch was doing the Vigo stuff. Like Vigo was happening without their influence, but Gozer, and Gozer in the original too, that was happening without their. But in Afterlife, she finds a trap and they open it. She's like, "Let's open this," starting the whole series of events.
Yeah.
And then in this movie,
Really
even
isn't
though
a very good Ghostbuster.
and even though the Garaka stuff is a little weird in this movie, her jumping into the ionic separator is the catalyst for him.
How about the listen? You're telling me they couldn't figure out another way to get into the top of that museum without walking the Statue of Liberty down the street? There had to be another way. They did serious damage.
They needed the positivity.
You can get it.
Go watch it again. They needed the positivity.
No, it's toxic positivity.
The shell wouldn't break, Craig. They needed it.
There's always room for Jello. Okay, here we go. What do we think about podcasts and what might his character development be? Character development be?
Wow, we should have read we should have read these first, so we're not answering the same question.
All right, okay. Was there a scene planned before the fight with Garaka? I have no idea.
Couldn't answer that. I don't know. Would have loved one just because I want more.
Like a pre-fight, like a press conference.
I don't know what that question.
Like a weigh-in.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think Garaka was an effective villain for the Ghostbusters to take on?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. You have the ancient factor. It's old. Yeah.
Yeah, he did kill. He did a murder death kill.
Yeah.
He killed a person. Yeah. Garaka killed a guy.
Death chill. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Garaka was great. I love that they tied I like when a villain is tied directly to one of the main characters. Like I like that.
Possession. Yeah.
I like that version of storytelling. It's scarier when it's like, oh, this could have all been avoided if this guy wouldn't have brought all of his grandmother's stuff to this damn pawn stop. Raise a call.
It's neither
to
of those
the gold
things
silver pawn shop.
Like this whole
callback.
What's a pawn stop?
It's like a quick stop with a pawn star. All right, here we go. Do you think they ever had a defend the firehouse scene?
Yeah, it's in the movie.
The whole
watched it.
The whole third act. Yeah.
I don't know
these questions.
I don't know, but do you think they had it? Do you think future movies will tackle and show more calls of the group go on versus off screen? So basically, like they reference, Callie and Gary and Trevor going off on busts, but they don't necessarily show them all.
Will we see them is the question. I don't know. Wait for the deleted scenes, folks. Yeah.
This is the problem with Ghostbusters. Like, this is why I think Jurassic Park and the Jurassic World movies, it's basically, we just want to see some fucking dinosaurs. Ghostbusters, everybody has a different, some people want ghosts, some people want characters, more Phoebe, less Phoebe, more Bill Murray, less Bill Murray, more jail scenes. That's what I'm always asking for. Do you think future movies will tackle?
Same one.
I want the Spangler family on another Ghostbusters adventure.
We have to. Why aren't these questions read?
Why is anybody doing quality check? We need to hire someone.
Where are these questions? These aren't the Discord questions, are they?
The Discord didn't ask anything. They literally, I'm like scrolling through. They're just talking about melody.
God.
And matchbooks. They're on punishment. All right, here we go.
It was in the Ghost. Was it in Ghostbusters or was it in Frozen Empire?
Here we go. Here's going. What's your favorite part of the new soundtrack for Frozen Empire?
I liked Cruel Summer in the trailer.
No, the score.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I liked Cruel Summer.
I did. I wanted to see it in the movie.
I mean, I'll be honest. I've listened through the score one time. But there's all the stuff at Ray's Occult. There's this specific piece when Ray's looking out the window and sees the Ecto go by, and they use it a couple times in the movie.
It's like really a sweet string moment.
Yeah,
I liked. There's a scene. I think it's the scene. I don't know, but anyway, there's a transition to the library scene and it is literally like the opening shot of the original Ghostbusters, where it starts up here on the library
Mhm.
and it slow pans on the same line from the opening of the original film, and it's got the same music cue, which is really cool.
Mhm.
Yep. And then in the library scene when Ray walks past the library ghost, and it cuts to that same Elmer Bernstein piece.
Yeah,
really
that's a great moment. Yeah.
all right. Jacob, did you find any other good ones? Because we got a couple more.
Yeah, I'm just finding them now, but some of these are ones people asking about. When did Melody die?
That's the big takeaway.
It's the same questions.
So
Needle drop. When did Melody die again?
I told you I wasn't going crazy. Here, I got a good one here, Abigail.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite new gadget from Ghostbusters Frozen Empire?
I like the drone. I think it's really cool. I think that the opening sequence with the Hell's Kitchen sewer dragons really exciting. I think it might be the best sequence in the movie, and I love being able to see like the aerial view of the monster being sucked up. I think it's awesome.
I like when Callie goes, "Later, Gator."
Yeah,
it's just a fun thing to say.
I could watch the opening of that movie over and over. It's great.
To me, it's the ionic separator. That thing just looks cool, and I want to play with it.
Mm-hmm.
I like the computer screen on the ionic separator.
Yeah,
because it like looks like Atari.
Yeah.
And it's like bloop, bloop,
it's
bloop.
like that old like an old Epcot ride.
You know, in Afterlife, they were really big on putting Ghostbusters in motion, right? We saw that first the Muncher chase scene. We'd never seen a Ghostbusters live action scene where the Ecto's tearing around corners and blasting the neutron blaster, all that stuff. I think the next evolution of that is I want a scene like, imagine the opening scene with the sewer dragon, but at some point they all got to get out of the car and they're all like running around.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see, I think that's like the next evolution of, because you got to admit, in the first movie, it's mainly standing around and throwing, right? And now we're like, I like the idea of almost like an on foot chase scene. Just doing
get out of the car.
Yeah, I would love that. So my favorite gadget, I did like the drone. I love the ionic separator. I really like, just because the scene's really funny, the headphones microphone setup that Lars is using at the containment unit is awesome.
Yeah.
And I like, the wrist Neutrino wand is really cool. And also I like the new proton packs. I like the way they look. I guarantee it. New packs.
Which we see the new pack in the movie before that scene, and I think that's a little weird.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, well, we've already seen these.
There was another continuity.
It's new to them. But you see Lucky's wearing one and uses it on Garaka 20 minutes before.
Right.
New packs before that.
Hey, I wish that scene was longer. I loved when Lucky shows up to save Phoebe and like she's going one-on-one with Garaka. That's pretty badass.
That was badass. Yeah.
Couple more. Are you hopeful we'll get a sequel in the next 2 years?
Always hopeful. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm hoping for it.
Go ahead, Abby.
No, I hope the international sales like kick ass, and I hope that this movie has, that there's a demand for it, and that there's a place for the story to continue. I'd really like that.
Yeah, I just want time to breathe, and I don't want anything rushed. If it takes longer than 2 years, that's okay. I don't want it like plopped out just because they need to get it out. But I think we're hopeful that we'll know what's happening before 2 years.
Yeah, I've thought about, obviously, like, let's be real. The box office is middle of the road right now. It's not. It's only been out for 2 weeks. It's still
opening in some countries, which
that's the thing. Crazy. Yeah, it's going to be a month or two before we really know what international is. It looks like it's on track to break 100 million in America, or in North America. I mean, that's not an easy thing to do for any movie these days. Like the vast majority of movies in 2024 do not make $100 million at the box office. Now, it's hard because March specifically had a lot of big movies. Dune, Kong and Godzilla.
There's a lot of movies in the theater right now. Like there's
a lot of movies.
3 other movies in the theater that I want to see,
horror movies,
while they're in the theater. And Godzilla is out, and Dune. There's all.
I want to see Godzilla, Dune 2. I'm gonna see that tonight actually, and then Immaculate and Love Lies Bleeding. I put all those on hold to focus on Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. I've enjoyed it.
So we know that the movie had probably around $100 million budget. It's definitely going to be profitable, and it'll make even more on, one of the things that happens when a movie comes out for a franchise, it raises all the tides, right? Like everything comes up. So DVD sales for all the Ghostbusters movies go up, and there's more streaming, and now the 40th anniversary is coming up, and there's more brand awareness and all that stuff. So it'll make money. It'll just depend on what Sony wants to do. I think it's a very important franchise for Sony. I think the key is you have to get kids liking Ghostbusters because you have to have families going to these movies, right?
Can't just be all of the 40-year-old
no. So I think the Netflix animated series and whatever other projects they're working on, I think something on streaming would be so good for Ghostbusters. Just like the animated movie, put it on Netflix, and every kid in America can watch it every day for 2 years straight.
Yeah. If you look at TMNT, like Ninja Turtles, that's how they've stayed relevant, like as a franchise.
Yep. Look, the new Roadhouse, came out on Amazon, right? If that movie was in theaters, would we have watched it? No. But it's free and it's on Amazon, and they said 80 million people watched it in the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
So there's like a cost analysis of, listen, I want to see movies in theaters. I don't want to sit at home and watch Ghostbusters 6 on Hulu or whatever it's going to be. But if that's what the brand needs for stability and survival, I think the critics were really unfair to this movie in general. I don't necessarily think that affects box office, but I think there's a cynical something.
It affects morale, like in general, I think.
Yeah.
If we're talking about it, I guess we're talking about it. Yeah. It's kind of a bummer to have to like face that, but still we're doing better than we were in 2016. And I'm happy about that.
Good.
Yeah, we're eating good. And I cherish the memories that I have building up to this movie, to the release, and to the actual night of the release. And I hope eagerly and anticipate more and want to be there to cover it and be a part of it. So yeah.
Critics are generally soulless creatures that hate almost everything good. And there's a long history of critics hating movies that turn out to be some of the biggest
most loved
classics, most loved movies on the planet. So the original Ghostbusters was given bad reviews from critics. So I just think it's unhealthy to give any kind of a shit what a critic says about a movie ever.
Yeah. It should your opinion should be the only opinion that matters. Like to be like gauging and wondering, like, do I have approval to see this movie? Does this other person like it? Fuck that. That's like 100% not how you should watch movies. You should watch the movie based on interest level, or just like, hey, give it a shot. Like, start the movie, start watching it and seeing what it's like, instead of being like, I need to see what all the people on Rotten Tomatoes, etc. think. Like, that's basic, in my opinion. Like, you should be finding out for yourself. And for me, the pursuit of movies is the most important thing in life. So, do it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I lost some of those. We've got like 4 or 5 questions left, and then we're gonna have to wrap up because we're almost at an hour. Let's just rapid fire a few more. I actually have to share my screen because they're not loaded up. And let's try to tackle a few more. All right. You guys were there for the Venkman Firemaster interview scene. What was that like?
Really hard not to make noises and laugh because we had to be so quiet.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the coolest thing we've ever done.
Yeah.
Literally is the most insane, like surreal experience of my entire life is like when you grow up really loving Bill Murray and Ghostbusters and everything Bill Murray's in, and also the fact that Bill Murray is kind of treated like he's just a dude, but he's treated like a mythical creature, and everybody's always like in awe of him, not knowing what he's going to do or where he's going to be. And the fact that we were like, oh, there is Bill Murray being Peter Venkman in front of us, and we just get to watch this happen is the most insane. It was literally the craziest day ever.
You know what's funny? Like that was Bill's last day filming on the movie. And that was our last day there. And that was the last thing we did was for 45 minutes or whatever it was, watch Bill Murray and Kumail Nanjiani film this scene. And after that, I was like, you know what? That might be the last time Bill Murray plays Peter Venkman. And we watched him do that scene. We watched him film.
Yeah.
And then 6 months later, they fucking did reshoots, and he was there, and I can't claim that anymore.
Yeah, it's like seeing Edge's last match.
It was like when we saw Edge's last match, and then he came back 10 times.
Yeah.
I mean, Jay, I can't. What can you say? It's two. First of all, it's two comedians, the most talented in their field. One, Bill Murray's the best ever, and Kumail is, it's watching those two go at it and have fun and just act and do that scene. We got to listen to it on the headphones, and like it was and also like having that little like, I can't believe we're watching this and it's going to be in the movie and we can't talk about it. We can't. I was just so happy to see it in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same. I know I said it was hard not to laugh, but like it was also hard not to have an emotional release, at least for me, because Bill Murray is like a modern day hero, someone that I've like looked up to and watched on the TV screen. And I was thinking about What About Bob the entire time I was watching it, just because that's such an important movie to me. And yeah, to have the memories that I do of sitting in my living room with the Blockbusters tape and eating dinner and watching What About Bob and just like feeling understood and laughing.
What I can't tell is if this was like this week or 30 years ago.
No, like 30 years ago in the house I grew up in. Yeah, like it's that kind of thing where I'm like, oh, I can put something on this TV that can make me happy. I found happy whenever I want, like Bella Baxter says. And, poor things.
I mean, but yeah. I mean, not to get overly sentimental, but like we've talked about it before. Like these are literally like, guys, we don't just do this. We don't get on YouTube every week for 8 years and yap about Ghostbusters because it's good for our health. I'm quite sure it's bad.
It's bad. We're not doing good.
Guys, we didn't
used to look like this.
Yeah, but they're quite literally our heroes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a hero that you look up to, whether it's Michael Jordan or fucking Mickey Mantle or your favorite high school teacher, I don't know, whoever your heroes are, to get the chance to see them from afar your entire life and see them, like Abby said, on a DVD or on a VHS, or all these stories about Bill Murray showing up at people's parties and, is he going to be cranky? Is he going to be affable? All that stuff. And just to sit there and watch him do what he was put on this earth to do. Like the universe gave us Bill Murray, and he has had a career where he's just the funniest and most like out of this world actor that you could have ever imagined. And he's also in Ghostbusters, which is just like our favorite thing. And to sit there, he's right behind the wall, right? It's like there's a wall and them, and then there's like 10 feet and there's us at the monitor. And to be given that opportunity, you can't forget it. It's a once in a lifetime kind of thing.
To see someone that talented do what they do, like in front of you. I think we've all mentioned that.
3 days in a 3 days in a row.
3 days in a row.
This is not the only scene we watched Bill Murray film. It's just the last scene we watched Bill Murray film. I mean, our day one walking on set for the very first time was, I remember we got there and stand-ins were rehearsing, and we weren't told who was going to be there. We knew that a lot of people were going to be there, but we didn't know for sure. We literally day one walk onto set and saw, I was like, that's Bill Murray stand-in. That's Dan Aykroyd stand-in. That's Ernie Hudson stand-in. And then you see all three of them walk out in their Ghostbuster out. Like Bill Murray walked right by us one time wearing his jumpsuit. And I'm just like, that's not Bill Murray. That is Peter Venkman right
I
there.
know. I'm going to start fucking crying. That's the part you cannot really even put into words, because let's just end on this note. No more questions, because I think this is a good place to end. I'm glad this was brought up because I was trying to formulate these thoughts the other day. Watching Bill Murray in Ghostbusters is probably my earliest memory as a human being. Like, I probably started watching that movie at like 1.5 or 2 years old. Ghostbusters, Caddyshack, Stripes, right? Should I have been watching Stripes at 3 years old? That's a different discussion. But to have something that's that important to you and that impressionable on you, that has literally shaped professional life, friendships, relationships, and 40 years later to see it in person with the
just
same,
literally get thrown in the middle of it.
the same guys.
Yeah. The same dude.
The same Ernie Hudson, the same Dan Aykroyd, the same Bill Murray and Melody. Actually, no, she wasn't there. It's just correct. Like, what else can you say? It's amazing, and I'm forever grateful for it. And probably gonna go probably gonna a little cry after this.
Yeah,
because it means a lot.
Yeah,
I promise myself.
It's good to cry. Yeah.
Abigail, any final thoughts? This was good. This was fun.
No, I think I got him out. I think we all did. Seeing what we saw was like extremely surreal and like being in a dream. But the fact that there's receipts of it and there's like footage and photos makes it just that much more meaningful and special to like have a piece of it that we can look back on. So I love Firehouse Fridays. I love what we have already put out. There's going to be more content coming, and I can't wait for everyone to see it and for myself to see it because it brings back great memories. And I love Ghostbusters, and it might not have been a part of my childhood, but it always has felt like it should have. And when I was introduced to it by Craig as a full grown adult, like it really hung with me, and then ended up getting.
God, I probably overhyped it. I could totally see myself saying, "The thing you're about to watch is going to change your life. Trust me."
Yeah,
it was true though.
But it was true.
It actually was true.
Jacob, last thought.
It actually happened.
YHS we put out. Abby said we put out.
So.
We put out. Oh my God. Yeah, it's easy. You should. Yeah, we're so easy.
You can fuck us.
Yeah.
We put out. Is that what we're saying?
We put content out.
We put
content. The word you're forgetting is content.
We put content out. Yeah, you're not going to find us on the street corners.
I'm
editing
content.
some of this. I'm editing
some of this.
Yeah. You don't get. Why buy the milk when you get the content for free?
Oh.
No, why buy the cow? No, this is a Tommy Boy situation.
I thought you were going to say we're always serving content.
Content.
Bye, everybody.
Do I? Yes, have some. Yes, have some.